Hello everyone, Chris here with Platinum Reviews, and today we have the review for the PlayStation Portal. Alright, so before we get into the review, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Platinum Review goodness. Now, we're going to discuss a few things about this before I jump into the actual review itself. I'm going to kind of talk about different functions that it has and a few worries that I have. This does not affect the score. It's just some stuff that, I kind of want to get out there. So as you can see, it is a very awkward design. The portal, and this did kind of affect the review. I don't know why I said that, but the portal is very light and it actually feels really, really good. Holding it in my hands, like it just feels really good and really light. I was actually very surprised with how good it feels. A couple of nice things too is it has a share button on it. Since it actually has the DualSense Edge controller, or not Edge, but the DualSense controller on it, it has a share button. So you can actually play this in your room and stream directly from YouTube or Twitch or however you have it set up on here. You can stream directly from your portal. So I think that is really cool. It's something that's unique too, because if you have, and it does it from your TV, so or from your actual PlayStation. So if you have your PlayStation set up to stream to a proxy server, and you do stuff like that to where you can stream through your computer, however you have it set up, you could potentially play this in another location and have your stream running while you're at the DMV. Like, you could do some cool stuff with this. As far as the battery, it uses a, let me get a good look at that, USB-C right here. Yeah, there you go. USB-C. I have charged the battery one time on this, and whenever I charged it, it actually worked for about 6 or 7 days with one charge. I played it for about 30 minutes to an hour per day, and it just worked really, really well. I was very surprised with the battery life on this. Now, one thing I am worried about, and this doesn't count off, this is the part that I said wouldn't count off for the review, is the controller. Now, as you can see, this is just attached. It's automatically attached to this. There's no taking it off. They chose to have this attached to where you can't disconnect the Joy-Cons. Well, they're not Joy-Cons, but you can't disconnect them like Joy-Cons. So that kind of worries me. It makes me think that this, if it gets stick drift, which is a very common issue with DualSense controllers, if it gets stick drift, I'm going to be out of a $200 system, which is very disappointing. Now, other than that, this feels good. It handles good. It is very, very lightweight. I'm very surprised with overall how this feels. I really, really like it. And battery wise, it lasted for, 6 or 7 days on one charge. And yeah, I didn't play it for hours at a time, but I did play, 30 minutes to an hour, and it worked very, very well. You do have haptic feedback on the controllers, so they work very well. Overall, I think the console and its setup, even though it looks goofy, it works very good. Now, I booted up Madden for a specific reason. My biggest problem with the Portal is the touchscreen's sensitivity. Now, I'll show you after this play what I mean. So, let's go ahead and skip that. If I needed to call a timeout in certain games, like Madden, for example, watch it work right away. You would hit the touch screen to get the touchpad to show up. Now, in games, if you were just playing on the regular DualSense controller, you would press the touchpad in the middle to call a timeout. In this, I'm tapping and I'm not getting a response. I have to like double tap or triple tap in random places to call a timeout. And I feel like that is a very, very big problem, and especially in games like this where, seconds matter. If, I have 10 seconds left and I have to call a timeout right then, it could potentially screw me up to where I can no longer call a timeout and I'm screwed. It just cost me the game. So I think overall the Portal works really well. I do have a few times, especially with certain games, sports games probably are the worst at this, where it slows down and it has lag. And I haven't really ran into this too much with games like Persona Tactica, anything like that. But games like NBA 2K, especially NBA 2K, are unplayable. I can't play them at all. Um, look at Mac Jones playing like Mac Jones. But yeah, I can't play them at all because they're just constantly lagging. NBA 2K, I've given it the benefit of the doubt, but it just will not work correctly. I even had this on the best possible network that I could connect it to, and it still continued to have problems. I think, unfortunately, the Portal is a great device, and it works really, really well depending on what you play. If you play something like Persona 5 Tactica, if you're into JRPGs, this is going to work amazing. If you're into shooters or any sports games, you're going to have issues. It just lags way too much. And I think that is something that'll probably get fixed down the road. But as it is right now, it's hard for me to suggest somebody spending $200 on a device that might not be able to play the games they want to play, even on their home network. So, it's a good device, but just, temper your expectations if you purchase one. Now, another thing I wanted to discuss is something I haven't personally been able to test, but other people did experience this issue. Now, on the Portal, there is no internet interface, so you can't connect to a web page, which has potential problems. If you go to connect to a hotel network, for example, there's no connecting to that network and telling it like, hey, I want to accept the terms and conditions for connecting to the splash page. So when you boot up a hotel's network and you connect to their network, it'll be like, what room are you in? Stuff like that. And there is no way to get into it from what I've seen, which is a huge problem. I personally have not tested that because there's no reason for me to stay at a hotel. But yeah, I've seen other people have that issue, and I think that is a huge downfall for this. Now, I do think that's something that they're probably going to add in the future. It just makes sense. Why wouldn't you? But as it is right now, if you do buy a Portal, just be prepared that you will probably have to connect to your hotspot if you go to a hotel. It's just probably not going to work for you. Other than that, though, the Portals ran pretty well for me. I do have some lag issues, and like I said, there are some games that are just unplayable, like NBA 2K, for example. It's just unplayable. If you are a fan of shooters, stuff like that, you might run into problems where you're not wanting to play it because you're having constant issues. So if you're into shooters and sports games, I don't know if the Portal is right for you at this moment. If you are into JRPGs and games that are not taxing on your system, then the Portal might be for you. It's a great system or device that is only $200, so it's not badly priced. Now, one thing I will say that I kind of found weird, they do have an audio jack on here. So you can plug in I think it's 35 or 3.5 milliliter. Is it milliliter? Not milliliter. That's something else. But 3.5 mm. I think it just uses a regular audio jack, but you cannot connect Bluetooth to this, which is a problem. They do have a Bluetooth device that's coming out that you will be able to connect to it. But unfortunately, the Bluetooth devices that I've previously purchased, even other PlayStation Bluetooth devices, are useless when it comes to the Portal. And I think that is a very big mistake. And I don't understand why they did that. I think there are some benefits to the Portal. The ability to play this remotely, the ability to go poop and play your PlayStation. I mean, yes, you can already do it. I've played my PlayStation for years and years, and people were like, oh, Xbox xCloud, they did it first. No. I had a Sony Xperia that I used to play my PlayStation while I was at work, back in like 2013, I think. So I've been playing PlayStation remotely for years, and it's always been something I've done, and there's been devices to do it. I currently take my laptop with me wherever I go and hook a controller into it, and that way I can play it whenever I go out of town. So a device like this is going to work wonders, and I do think there is a use for a device just like this. Unfortunately, like I said, with issues with the touchpad, come on, you got it. Yeah, the touchpad and not being able to edit any sensitivity settings for it in the actual settings, I think is a huge, huge problem. The fact that this does not have an internet interface on it to where I can connect to a splash page for a hotel or for a hospital, public Wi-Fi, stuff like that, is another really, really big problem that I feel like this is facing. With the lag and everything, I feel like that's going to get worked out the longer this is out, especially now with how many people got this. This thing's selling like crazy. So I do believe that they're going to fix issues with games not working correctly, with the touchpad not working. I do think things are going to get fixed. I do think that in the future, this is going to be a must-have device for PlayStation owners. Unfortunately, I do not think that is the case right now. I think it's a very niche device. And, you know, if you do go to purchase it, just be wary that you might not enjoy it as much as some other people. Not saying that I'm not enjoying it. I do really enjoy this, but, you know, taking all the fanboy-ish out of it, you know, reviewing this how it should be reviewed, I would give the PlayStation Portal a 7 out of 10. There are some issues with it that I do think will get worked out, and I do think this is going to turn into being a better device. But as it currently stands, with me being unable to play certain games because they just don't work right, it doesn't matter what network I'm on, to the fact that the touchpad doesn't freaking work. Why aren't you working? There's just too many problems that I think are hard to overlook. If you guys have any questions about the Portal, let me know in the comments down below. This is Chris with Platinum Reviews. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Platinum Review goodness. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next video.